What's up guys, it's Sean from Window Tint Warriors, and today we're gonna be tinting a 2016 Honda Accord sedan. Guys, make sure you watch the video all the way through. Don't skip through any parts, because when we do these back doors, there's a certain trick you have to do with shrinking to make sure that when you install, you're not shrinking huge fingers. So make sure at least you watch the back door section before you go ahead and tint this car. Now before we get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and also make sure you check out Tint as well as Ceramic Pro. If you guys are looking to get started in the window tinting business, hit up Jennifer. I'm gonna put her contact information down in the description. She's the sales rep, and she'll get you signed up with some samples. And if you guys are good enough, you get signed up with Ceramic Pro to start installing Kavacha window film. I'm gonna show you guys how to remove the door panels, as well as install the window film. I'm not gonna show you guys how to cut the window film. I have other videos and courses for that, but I'm gonna show you specifically how to take the panel off so that you can bottom load the film, as well as the proper installation technique. So let's get to it with the outside prep, inside prep. We'll pop the panels off and get the film installed on this car. Throw that seat forward, so when we do that back window, it's a lot easier. Now to take the panel off, we're gonna take a 35-degree hook tool and a drill with a Phillips head. Very simple. First thing we're gonna do is come behind the door opening handle right here. And if you look from a downward angle, you'll see on the top, there's a little tiny notch. We're gonna stick the hook tool in there and twist it down. All we're doing is pushing down on this clip here and releasing it out. Then we'll have two Phillips head here. But before we take those screws out, I like to take this front triangle off, as well as the window switch as well. So we take the gasket stick, go from the front, just like so, give it a twist, and work your way back. Lift it up, and then you have another Phillips head there. So we have two behind the door handle and one behind the door grip. And then we'll pop this triangle off by going into the top edge and giving it a twist and pulling straight out. Very easy. I'll take these three screws out and I'll place them right in the door cup here. Now to remove the panel, the gasket is connected to the top of the panel, so you're gonna pull it off as one, and we're just gonna pop the bottom back on. So we're gonna grab it from the front edge. If you can't get a grip on it, take the gasket stick, shove it between the door panel and the actual door itself and give it a twist. Get your fingers underneath there and pull straight back. We'll lift the panel up like so. Overhang it so that you have room on the top edge. We're not gonna put it back on the door. We're gonna leave it hanging away. Then we'll line up these bottom clips and just smack the bottom clips in place. That way we have a nice open area on the top to deal with, so we can drop the film in, and the panel's still there, so it's not hanging by the wires. We'll do the same thing with the back door, and then we'll go ahead with the prep. The same thing as the front door. We have this cover on the behind the door handle with a little notch on the top. Pop that out. The window switch, 3 screws, no triangle on the back of the door panel, so we just take those out. And then we're gonna grab from the front of the door panel again, using the stick for leverage. Pop that panel, lift it straight up, clip the bottom in place, and we're ready to prep. So I'm gonna take the key, put it in the ignition. On the Honda, you have to do 2 clicks to get the accessory, then we can roll the windows down. Make sure the headlights are off, the air conditioning, as well as the radio. We'll roll all the windows down about 1 inch. And just like any other prep, we'll wipe all the outsides, scrape the insides, and then we'll grab the film. And we'll follow up with the inside prep. After you scrape the quarter glass window, you're gonna wanna take the gasket stick with the towel, your inside towel, and really get in these gaskets really good, because a lot of dirt does collect, and you'll get a high contamination rate if you do not do this with these types of quarter glass windows. Just give it an extra good cleaning. If you can't reach in there with the gasket stick, you can wrap around the easy reach and get even further in there. and just make sure you flush it out really good with water before you go and install the film. Even give it a swipe with the razor. Do a little pre-flush. Now I am doing pre-cuts on this, but you can go ahead and hand cut this. But the main thing with these back doors that I want to show you is a proper shrink on the outside before you go and install it on the inside. Whether you're bottom loading or two-staging, you definitely want to shrink these wet on the outside before you go ahead and install them. Reason being, there is a decent amount of curve to the window, which in turn gives us large fingers to deal with. So we'd rather shrink those before we go ahead and install. So I'm gonna put this window in a fully up position so that when I put my pre-cut on there, I can line it up about an inch from the bottom, and then that way we can shrink it, and we'll roll the window back down to lay it on the outside. Before I go and lay any film out, I'm just gonna dryer sheet the back window so we have that prepped for when we do the rear. I'm gonna lay the pre-cut out on my driver's door here, an inch from the top, but then again, the back door I have rolled up so that I can lay it an inch from the bottom so that we can shrink it. We don't have to shrink the front door like we do the back door. So I'll grab that pre-cut, overlap the back edge, line the top up an inch or so from the top. We're gonna squeegee that in place, removing any contamination, as well as wiping the top edge. Sometimes you will crease the release liner when you have a pre-cut because of the extra material. That doesn't damage the film, so I'm not worried about that. And then we have the back door. I'm gonna show you guys what we're gonna do with this. So we're gonna work on the back door first. So I'll mist the whole window up, mist the pre-cut up. Not really worried about the sides, you just wanna have one of the sides within the window, and then the bottom edge an inch or so away from the bottom. The closer, the more accurate shrink you're gonna get. So you can see we have the back edge about a half an inch to a quarter inch away. We're gonna squeegee across the top, bring the sides down. And you see, we're left with a few fingers. You saw how I didn't push them all the way down because I want to be able to shrink them. I don't want to force them and potentially crease those fingers. So let's grab the heat gun, put the heat gun on high heat, let it warm up. I have a black Lidco card here. You can use a gray one, but the black one is a little bit more soft. Start by heating from the top down. You don't want to chase these fingers up, you want to chase them down. And you'll see as I push, they may potentially pop back up, but they are partially shrunk. And we'll just work ourselves back and forth until they completely lay down. So you see I'm just kind of chasing them. I'm not overheating one and just concentrating on one. I'm moving back and forth until it completely lays down flat. One thing you really want to be careful of is not heating this area right here where the film is picked up, because if you heat that, it'll pinch and you'll get a heat crease and this window will be ruined. So stay away from the sides that are lifted up when you're heat shrinking or wet shrinking on the outside. So once we have that completely shrunk, we can pull the film off, roll the window down as we did on the front door, and mount the film on the top to then be peeled. If you do have a peel board, then you can go ahead and put it on your peel board and peel from there. But I use the door windows as my peel board just because it's nice and easy, and I don't have a peel board yet, but I believe I'm getting one soon, so stay tuned. So I'll mount it across the top, wipe that top edge, and then we're gonna go inside with the spray squeegee spray. Spray down the sides and the bottom, lightly mist the center. We'll take our 5.5 inch yellow turbo, wipe the blade, squeegee from back to front, or front to back, whichever position works best for you. And then squeegee down the side we finish on. Flush down the sides and the bottom. Lightly mist the center, and then we'll grab the film. So since we have a pre-cut, the release liner is very easily accessible. We can just grab it and kind of pull down. Mist that whole window up, make sure it's nice and wet, no dry spots. Grab the bottom corner and install this film like we would any other bottom load. Front edge in first, front bottom edge. Get the top edge to lay down and get between that gasket and glass. And we'll shift ourselves back and forth until we get perfectly into position. We'll lightly mist the glass, double check our position. If you do install this right after you heat shrink, the glass is gonna be warm and it's gonna stick a lot faster. So if you prefer, you can let the glass cool down a little bit and then come back to it so that way you don't struggle with the install. So we'll start with holding our thumb on the film and squeezing the film from back to front, making sure we're stretching it out just like we did when we squeegeed it before we shrunk the fingers. Nice hard overlapping strokes down the front edge. And then we'll take our easy reach, go down the back and the front edge, just to the visible area, nothing further. Then we'll take our inside towel with the gray lid coat card and we're gonna push out the top edge with the card wrapped with the towel with the heat gun on the top. We'll check our outside top edge before we roll it up. I like to just do a little bit of heat from the outside. If there's any slight blemishes, you can see right here, we have a little air pocket. We'll heat that up and just push that out. Once we have that whole top edge sealed up, then we can roll it up, spray the bottom, and when we have the window rolled up, we're gonna squeegee straight down. I like to start from the center out. You can see that shrink that we did stopped any fingers from popping up. We're still gonna seal the bottom edge with heat and the gray lid coat card to make sure that after we install the panel, no fingers do pop up. And you can see we actually have a finger right here. Still bound to happen. Give it a light mist, gray lid coat card in the heat gun, hit it with some heat, push it out, and that's it. We'll go down the sides on the bottom edge here with the easy reach, just to make sure we're sealed up. Give the panel a wipe down and we'll go ahead and tint the front door, then we'll do the quarter glass and then the back window. So we have the film for the front door mounted on the outside of the window. We're gonna go inside and do the spray squeegee spray. Again, flushing down the sides, the bottom and the front, lightly missing the center, taking the 5.5-inch yellow turbo, and I'm gonna squeegee from front to back, overlapping strokes, and then soak the window up again. So this is the cleaning step, and then we'll spray it again to lubricate it for the film. Wiping the blade, flushing those contaminants out, and then missing the center. Go ahead and peel the liner, spray it up really good, grab that bottom corner, and we'll do our typical bottom load for the front door. Front bottom corner in first, holding the back away, sliding that down and forward, and then letting the bottom back fall into place, as well as the top. The top edge aligned, as tight as possible. We are slipping around a little bit, so I'm gonna apply some heat from the outside. So once I do that first squeegee across the top, it's gonna stick in place and not move around on me. I'll squeegee the water off the outside there. Just give it a slight amount of heat across the whole top, just to get it warm because it is cold. If it were to be summertime right now, then this wouldn't be necessary at all. So we'll do a light mist to lubricate the film. 5.5-inch yellow turbo. I'm gonna start from the center with a light stroke. Now we got the film mounted in place. I'll go harder to the front to stretch it out. I'll mist the window up again and I'll do one final hard pass from front to rear. Overlapping strokes. And then down the back. Then we'll check our sides with the easy reach. Stopping where the door panel is, and the same thing on the front edge. Then we're gonna push out the top edge with the towel wrapped around the gray lid coat with the heat gun. Always wanna seal that top edge up. And then always after we seal the top edge, you wanna check the top edge from the outside for any contamination, little dust specks that you have to work out. I always take heat on the top corner and give it a nice firm press with a little chiseler to make sure that edge is sealed up, because that's the highest pressure point where the window does rub and it could potentially peel if it's not sealed. You look good. So we can go ahead and roll this window up. Missed the bottom edge. I'm gonna turn the key off now because we're done with the doors, just so the battery doesn't die. We have the bottom edge misted up. You can see we have some fingers here, but I'm gonna squeegee over them. And whatever pops back up, I'm gonna leave. And we'll come back with the heat gun and we'll shrink those. But it's not as aggressive as the rear door. We have that squeegeed out. Side swiper down the sides. We have a little finger popping up here. To shrink that, we're gonna spray it with soapy water, gray lid coat card, heat gun. We'll tap it with the heat gun and lay that thing down. And then we'll just go across the entire bottom edge to make sure that's completely sealed up. And of course, we're gonna wipe the door panel down so that water's not sitting on there. We don't want any water streaks in the door panel. If they did put a dressing on here, lightly dry it up. We have a little bit of a finger here on the side. You never wanna heat a side finger from the inside, only the outside, because it will not shrink properly. Only shrinks up and down. That looks good. Quick wipe down. I'll pop this door panel back on and then we'll go ahead and do this rear quarter glass window. After we do this rear quarter glass window, hop onto the back window quick, we'll do a quick shrink and we'll slap that window on there. To pop the panel back on, we're just gonna release the bottom. We're gonna start from the front edge, hang that back on. It's very simple. The door panel literally just hangs on the top of the door. Line up the clips, smack them into place, and then we put our 3 screws back. The 2 black screws go on the top, the silver one goes on the bottom. To put the window switch cover back in, so there's a little hook on the back. We're gonna place that in first, line it up, push down. To put this cover back, you wanna lift this little clip up so that there's height to it, because that's what holds it into place. And then we're gonna put these 2 little prongs in the bottom first, then pop the top in. Bottom, top. Then we just have this triangle cover here. I'm gonna slide it behind the door panel. You can see there's some area that goes behind the door panel. Line up the clips, pop it into place. That door is done. Now to do the quarter glass window. Let me grab that material and then we'll slap it on. So we have the quarter glass window here, clear release liner facing me. Make sure it lines up perfectly. We're good. Now we're just gonna spray a lot of soapy water around the perimeter to flush out any contaminants that could be there. We'll do the first squeegee, lightly mist it again, peel the liner, and then we'll stick the film on. So again, flush. It's very important. Take my 3.5 inch squeegee, and we're gonna squeegee from top to bottom, wiping the blade after each stroke. Do a light mist. I like to mist the film before I air peel. I'm gonna air peel right now, so I'll grab the release liner, hold the top edge, pop that liner off, mist the film up really good. We don't want it to stick when it gets in those corners, so we want it to be nice and wet. We'll get the top back corner in first, and then we'll work the whole back corner in. See, we're already sticking here. And we want to get that top edge lined up before we go in because we don't want it to bend here. So top and back edge, fully behind that gasket. You can kind of pull on the gasket to release the tension. Slide the window film up. It is a little tricky. You can see we have some tension over here. As long as there's no light gaps, we're good. We can work that out with the Easy Reach. We'll double check our gaps. We gotta slide it down a little bit. We look good. There's no light gaps. We just have this bunch of material here, but we're gonna go and squeegee it out first. So I'll squeegee from the center to the front gasket, down, around the top edge, into the top edge, and then you see we have a bunch of material here and a bunch up of material there. This is where the Easy Reach comes in. We're gonna stick the front of the Easy Reach into that front gasket, put a lot of pressure, and pop that into place. You guys see how that what happened? Yeah? Okay, good. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna use this edge in first, and then I'm gonna go on a pivot angle to pop that into place. So watch closely. The sooner you do this, the better, before it dries. And then we'll go down the back edge. Cool. We do have a little bit of contamination here. Little tiny specks. We're gonna attempt to work these out. A little bit of heat on the outside, a little chiseler action. These are inevitable to happen, especially on an older Honda Accord with this body style. A lot of dirt gets trapped up in those areas over there. So once you get it wet, it kind of just flushes all that out. And unless you're taking the window out, it's not going to be 100% perfect. And I always explain this to the customers so they're aware of the potential light contamination in this area. Overall, this window looks really good. It's going to go around the perimeter. Not too much heat. We don't want to burn those rubbers. It looks good. So you guys see how all those little tiny specks kind of worked out with a little bit of heat from the outside and the little chisel from the inside, because they weren't heavy contamination. They were just little tiny dust specks. Ultimately, you want to stay away from contamination overall, but if it does happen in these types of situations, you can lightly work them out. So we have that quarter glass on, all the doors are done. We'll hop into the back door, but before we do that, let's pop this panel back on. So we're gonna pop this off. Straight up, front edge first. Line up the clips. Pop the screws back in. Simple enough, right? Black screws, silver screw on the bottom. Window switch goes in the back first, straight down. The only piece that we have to put back on here that's not attached to the panel is this cover. Remember, lift that clip up a little bit. Bottom prongs in first, top in last. All right, now that we have the doors done, the door panels on, we're gonna jump onto the back window. It's gonna be very straightforward. I'm gonna do a fast shrink, fast install, do a couple pointers when I'm carrying the film on the inside doing Frankenstein, and we'll get this vehicle done quick. So we have the dryer sheet done already. We're gonna grab the pre-cut, lay it out, shrink it up. Mount our H pattern directly in the center. Sideways, H sides, tint whiz. And I'm gonna use the compressed felt card, MacTac card, to shrink this window. Shrinking those corners down to about 90% before we go to the center. Real time speed. Let's go. Tint whiz. Standard window tools for the back: scrubber, bulldozer, side swiper, and obviously my handy dandy apron full of other stuff. So we have the back window fully shrunk. Before I Frankenstein it and peel the liner off of the back, which I grab it directly from the back window, I like to do a light mist, squeegee around the perimeter, so that way when I peel the liner, I don't have any contaminants falling into the film's glue side. Then we'll go inside and do the spray, scrub, wipe, spray, squeegee, spray. Prep that inside up good. Get those out of the way. Soak that window up good, not too much. Scrub the bottom behind the brake light and the rear deck. Take the pad off, scrub the rest. We'll wipe that residue off, as well as the adjacent panels. Make sure they're not dirty. Then we'll do our spray, squeegee, spray. Get this car done. I'm just gonna say it again. If you guys do not have Tint Whiz and you guys are window tinters that are running an actual business or looking to start one, go download that free trial. It's amazing. I switched from my CRM with over 4,000 customers in my database to Tint Whiz. Changed my life. Check it out. So we got the spray squeegee spray, 5.5 inch yellow turbo, wiping that blade. Top down, overlapping strokes as far as we can reach. Once we can't reach any further, we'll take the side swiper, wipe it, squeegee. Once you can't reach any more with the side swiper, bulldozer. Light mist to overlap that stroke. Start from the center out. After each pass, wipe the blade. We'll flush out the bottom edge, mist the center, and we'll go outside and peel that liner, and we'll Frankenstein this thing inside. I like to mist up the liner quick, make sure there's no static. Peel that edge. Make sure there's no dry spots. Pop it from the top. And Frankenstein. Go inside. Whole key is to get that bottom edge on first without hitting any panels. and then work our way up. On these Honda Accords, you kind of want to get one side in behind the plastic C-pillar on the side because it does overlap a little bit. And then we'll kind of shimmy it back and forth to get it equally behind each side. So we'll do the driver's side first. Work on the passenger side. Working consistently, never stopping, because you don't want it to start setting and sticking in place. And work out any inconsistencies. I like to spray the film up, give it some lubrication for my hand so my hand doesn't stick to it. Work out these air pockets. That hurt. Oh my God. Ooh. Funny bone. Watch out for this. Ow. So on these Honda Accords, specifically this model, the bottom edge has a rubber strip across the bottom. So I like to lift it up to the point where there's a little light gap, and then I'll push it back down to the point where I just cover it. I'll hop out and check it out, make sure we got full coverage. Good, no gap on the top. I'm gonna hop out and check that bottom edge quick, get that dryer sheet off. Perfect. So now if you go too far past the dot matrix, you end up hitting that rubber and the tint actually peels off after you squeegee it out. So the film will actually start popping off the window after you squeegee the film out because you're hitting that bottom rubber. Just pay close attention to that. So we'll do our squeegee now, lightly miss the window, 5.5 inch. So we'll start squeegeeing 5 inches from the top, from the center out. Overlapping strokes, other side. Straight up the top, same way that we shrunk it. Side swiper across the bottom from the center out, each side. Then we'll hit the other side. And then once we can't reach any further, we'll do a light mist across the bottom and hit it with that bulldozer. You see when I come to the corner, I stop and then I push straight down, release the tension on the squeegee, pull it out. Give it another check. I'll take the yellow turbo, wrap it around with the inside towel and just push out that top edge to stop any water from dripping between the film and the glass. And then I'll wipe everything down here. Get all this water that collects in this channel back here. Does get quite a lot. You don't want to let the customer drive away with that and potentially splash forward. So this channel right here usually collects a nice pool of water. Make it nice. We'll give it a check from the outside and then we'll be good to go on this. I do see some bubbles on the bottom passenger's back. I'm gonna push those out really quick. Straight down. And there's a couple bubbles right here. Side swiper into the side. I'll do this side really quick too. You look good. This window is perfect. All right guys, that is how you tint all the side windows and the back window on a 2016 Honda Accord sedan. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Look out for a lot of new content coming because it's about to get really exciting with what we got going on. I'll see you guys later.